Hi, welcome into Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears. We are live tonight talking about topics and tidbits and all things Disney Wish and Disney news. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. We have not been live for a while, so have a little grace with us if we are a little
Right.
clunky getting started. Plus, it's December. So life is crazy. I'm Catherine Ritchie. This is Jennifer McCormick. Jennifer's out busy getting our link shared out. So
Right.
we will be doing that, and then we will be getting into chatting. Welcome in if you are new. Welcome back if we haven't seen you in a while. We always appreciate you hitting that thumbs up so that we know you're watching. And that just helps us get our information out to more people. That bell icon is there, so you'll get notified anytime we drop a video, which is done every Friday. And we have so much, I feel like you do not
Oh
want
my
to
gosh, I've got so much in the hopper right now.
I know, I feel like we can do
It's a
twice
little
a week for a
crazy.
while and still have plenty. So hit that bell icon. So anytime, and of course, we always appreciate you sharing this out with any friends and family who love Disney and Universal or you're planning a trip. So
Yeah, so I'm almost there. Very
no,
close,
you're
but
fine. You're fine. We were trying to remember. We know how to do everything, and then both we haven't. It's just crazy. So
it is crazy. Well, I mean, it's one of those things too, where I mean, some of it's muscle memory, and when your muscle hasn't done that in a while, but we've been so busy. We have had a ton going on. I was gone almost the entire month of November. So, I think we chatted in September at some point in time, and then kids have activities, and it's just been a really, really busy time. And then I was traveling almost the entire month of November. And then here we are. It's December.
I know. And for those of you who've been with us a while, we have a lot of regulars, so thank you. We've both had cat additions to our families.
There you go.
So
that's right.
Warning you now, if there are tiny kittens that appear, it's just the way it is. So it kind of is the definition of our life. So we wanted to kind of chat about some news. And then again, if you've been following our pages, and we also have our Facebook page, Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears. We have two. We have a business page and group. We were posting a lot about, as Jennifer alluded to, she's traveled more than the rest of us. We also have to say, Christy is still with us. I launched right in and totally forgot.
Right.
She's under the weather tonight. Knowing her, she's probably watching. That is why she is still with us, but just not on here live. And that's probably where all of our life stages are right now. We're not gonna be able to go live all the time. It may be three of us, it might just be two of us now and that. So
right.
she is
So
still
Christy,
with us,
if you're watching, feel better. Oh,
yes, please, yes.
soon.
It's the worst. So but we're here. So we'll kind of, if you're ready, we can kind of jump in and chat about a few things and
Yeah. Well, we've got a few details on announcements and changes that are timely for the parks, for Disney Cruise Line. And then we thought we would jump in and talk a little bit about our travels and our experiences. We had the opportunity to visit Disney World, Disney Cruise Line. I was just at Aulani. There's a lot going on right now. So I think the biggie today, I thought this was coming a month ago, but Disney Cruise Line finally announced that the early 2024 sailings will be opening for booking next week. So those itineraries were just released today for the first time. And usually we see those, mid-October?
Yes.
Even sometimes early October, late September for, the year after, that season forward. And so to wait until December for early 2024 was unexpected. I've got people who are like, it's coming. I'm like, I will let you know as soon as I hear something. And I never expected to wait until this late in December.
Well, I was just encouraged because we typically do Tuesday nights, and we had to vary it up because of life. So I was laughing like, oh, they knew we were going live. They thought they'd give us something because we didn't have enough to talk about already.
It's a sign that today was the right day.
Yeah. So if you follow our page, we do have some where we have some lives where we just talk about cruises and things like that. But the reason we're talking about that, I mean, I don't know about you, I can't even think about next week. 2024, cruising is really different, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit. But if you're thinking about that, you do want to book as early as possible.
Right.
Those dates. So that's why people who know are looking and ready, and there is huge advantages to doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the other biggie that we're hearing more and more about is that the Walt Disney Company will be celebrating their 100th anniversary in 2023. So the company started in 1923. So 2023 is the 100th anniversary of the whole Walt Disney Company. And so that celebration kicks off at Disneyland January 27th. So it's coming up really soon. We're hearing some more announcements about what to expect for that weekend. Full disclosure, I booked that weekend to go to Disneyland because I expected it to be a quiet weekend in January.
They heard
So
you were coming.
serendipitously, I will be coming, and posting from the start of the 100th anniversary celebration at Disneyland. I'm excited to see it. I was a little bummed at first because as soon as they announced it, prices went up, and I hadn't purchased my tickets yet. So I got hit by that ticket increase pretty hard.
You're going to be glad, because if you had booked it like the week before, you would have been,
I know.
in retrospect, you'd be so mad. Because if you were
I know. But I mean, it'll be exciting to see all of the new things coming up, and just to know that's a major, that's a major anniversary. That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited to share, what we find and what we discover. And I'll be there with my family. We were supposed to go in, September 2020, and they were still closed at that point. And then had, tried to make other plans, and things were still closed, and it wasn't just, it wasn't the right time. So finally we sort of shoehorned this in because we needed to make it happen. And here we go. We're going to be there for 100.
That's so exciting. So we are agents with Mickey Travels and Let's Adventure Travels, and the owners of our agency are actually at Disneyland right now. So I know a lot of you follow Mickey Blog. You'll see us share that into our group, Magical News Live. There's a couple pages that we really prefer. And so if you're thinking Disneyland and you need maybe a peek, or you have no idea how different it is, they've been going live a lot this week, and you're going to see more post press about it as well. But the fact that, gosh, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, you'll be there.
Counting right now, because there's
you two do. Do you have a countdown going now?
And I'm not ready for at all.
Okay.
We have kittens. We barely have a tree up. We have no ornaments on the tree because we're testing out what happens when you have little creatures who like to climb things. So,
I know. It's like having babies or something. Oh, I know. We have a little one. We do have a smaller one they haven't touched. The bigger one's going up tonight. So
good luck.
I don't have a lot of I'll let you know tomorrow. So in addition to Disney and Universal comments, feel free to drop anything while we're chatting, drop it in the chat. Jennifer's looking at that. You can always send us questions. Disney, Universal, or if you have cat tricks that might. Oh, and just this is to not get an aside, but have you heard about tinfoil and cats don't like tinfoil? I've put tinfoil in places where cats were not supposed to like it, and then I would find my cats under it. Yeah.
I put mats down where I don't want them to scratch things, and they're toys. So I think that's a big fat lie, apparently.
I think so, or it's just yes, because the same thing. My kittens move the tinfoil.
Yeah.
So not helpful.
If it's on the ground and it can move, it's a toy. So
we'll see. Some people said, people just said, you can just wrap the base of the tree or wrap the whole floor. I think there's some TikToks and some different things about that. First of all,
no. Well, my cats aren't supposed to like the bath, but the kittens, they hop in the shower with me. So that's not even a safe space.
So clearly, we don't. We should be doing something with these cats. Maybe you could make money with how your
cats. I guess that's a whole different YouTube channel.
Whole other revenue stream. Yeah.
Right.
So the other news thing we wanted to mention too, and we don't know all the details of it, but effective tomorrow, there will be some pricing changes with 1 day Walt Disney World tickets. So this is for someone who you're just going to go for a day. That's not usually that often. Most people, if you're going to Disney, you're doing a couple of days, having a couple options, but they're going to start this special park-based, date-based ticket pricing. So if you have booked, I don't even know how long it started. You sometimes could see the prices when you were looking at specific days. So it's just going to really be another step to that. So just something to keep in mind if you're looking. That will be something that's effective. So you're picking the park and the date.
Yeah.
It's in a little different way.
But you know what? I feel like just as a casual observer. I don't, work with folks who just go for a day. That's not, part of the people I talk to. Like everybody I know is going for more than one day. But
Right.
I can totally believe that there are people who have been hopping down to Florida, want to spend a day at Disney, so they buy a one-day ticket and don't have any idea that they need to be making a park reservation, that they need to do other things. And so at least the real benefit of having this very specific, if you're buying a one-day ticket and it's a one-day ticket only, you are buying it for a specific park for a certain day. So then you don't also have to go back into the system and make a park reservation. It is your park reservation.
Right.
That I think is a really great thing, because I can't imagine what the cast members, must have been experiencing trying to, help folks who just bought a ticket and wanted to go like to Magic Kingdom, but maybe all of the parks were fully booked that day, or maybe only Animal Kingdom was available, or Epcot, tends to have a bit more space. And so folks couldn't go to the park that they wanted to go to. So that's not good for anyone. That's not good for the person who bought the ticket and thought they'd be able to get in. That's not great for the people who are trying to troubleshoot that. So here's to hoping that will circumvent that issue at least. And then of course, we know Magic Kingdom, if you're coming for one day, odds are probably pretty good if you're buying a one-day ticket. I'm going to Magic Kingdom, because everybody I talk to, if they think Magic Kingdom, they call it Disney World. At first, like, I'm going to Disney World. I'm like, yeah, where? Disney World. Which one? Disney World. Do you mean Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios? They're like, what about MGM? So there's a lot of that happening right now. So hopefully, this helps people realize this is where they're going.
Absolutely. It's just streamlining it. Again, if you haven't visited or you haven't booked a ticket since the pandemic, you probably wouldn't necessarily notice that, it's just part of that. But if you were doing that, and again, we are mostly working with people that are booking typically 3-day and up tickets. They're just doing those one-offs are kind of rare, or it might be someone there for a conference or something like that, or adding on to something. So just something we wanted to share that's coming along as well. So we haven't heard anything else about park pass reservations changing, or that process is still in place. So again, we're always here with questions, but if you are booking your tickets, you need to check that calendar. Especially, I've been working with quite a few people looking at those last minute trips, thinking about December. You just want to make sure it's available and you get that made immediately. That's always our PSA every time we chat. We're going to just at least
make your park reservations, make them as far out. I have so many people asking, do I have to make them now? They might book a year in advance. Yeah. And I'll say, yes, make your park reservations now, because you're going to forget, and it's in all the reminder emails, but I know that people don't get that far in the reminder emails. Right. They might get to the first paragraph and you're like, okay, I'm good. No, you're probably not. Make your park reservations. That's definitely our friendly.
And we have a great YouTube channel with so many tutorial videos. If you just want to pretend you're in Hawaii with Jennifer, there's that one that's up there too. We have ones on if you're thinking, what is a park pass reservation? Right? Know someone going, have they done that? That's in there too, of how to do that, how to set up your My Disney experience. The reason we started doing this is we really just want to help people maximize their trips to Disney destinations and Universal, and we obviously love it too. So of course that's part of it, but making sure, again, if you miss one of those steps, so we want to make sure we're helping you do all of that.
Yeah. And because, I'm a very visual person. And so I can explain something to someone. I can put, step-by-step in writing, even sometimes if I show screenshots. I know that doesn't meet every learning style. Some people are just like, show me. So here you go, YouTube, show. I'll show you how to do it. Yeah. So yeah, everything works. So we send tips and tricks and, steps, but, I also send YouTube videos too, to make sure that
absolutely
that no one's missing anything very pertinent to having an amazing trip.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of your favorite places?
Well, yeah, one of my favorite places. So just recently, Disneyland Paris books on a little bit of a different calendar. And so they were only booking until late March 2023, up until, sometime November, I think, is when they opened reservations for just resort and ticket packages. But then very recently, less than a week ago, they finally opened up all the add-ons. So dining reservations, photo pass, Ultimate Express, which is, sort of like their lightning lane system, and most of their dining reservations. So Disneyland Paris is a little bit of a different place to visit in that if you have, a resort and ticket package, if you've got that linked to the app, then some restaurants, not all of them, and the website makes you think that it's all of it, but some restaurants will open their dining reservations up to a year out, but you can only see it, the availability for the week that you're booked and linked. And so we've got all of our dining booked for April 2023 already. If I wanted to go in March, just wanted to pop by, I can't see any of the dining available for March. I can only see my specific dates in April. But yeah, I mean, it's a really neat thing, but things don't open up right away. And so of course, everyone's like, what's open now? What's open today? Because they, just like any other, just like Disney World, some restaurants load on a different, load their reservations on a different schedule. So we're seeing those things pop open for Disneyland Paris, but because their calendar is April 23 to March 24, this means that if you're booking a trip through March 24, potentially, you could potentially be making your room and ticket reservations, dining reservations, potentially all of that this week, for well over a year out. So it's a really interesting calendar how they have everything scheduled. Yeah. And I highly recommend it. It's a great location. Very much into Disneyland versus Disney World because they have two parks, much smaller, compact property, but great opportunity, great option. And sometimes people have pointed this out to me after, I've mentioned that we went because flights were less expensive, but someone pointed out to me just last week when I was on the phone that it was less expensive, I'm in Minnesota, for them to fly to Paris for spring break than it would to fly to Orlando from here, those specific spring break weekend to weekend days. So if you're up for it, take a look at that because that's why we went for the first time, as a family and when we did. And it was because we were thinking about going to Disney World. On a whim, I checked the flights to Paris and they were less expensive than Disney World. So I said, hey, who wants to go to Paris?
That's so crazy.
I know, but it's true. It's true.
And flights are crazy right now. So it never hurts to, you can always have the wanderlust and daydream, but you never know, you might find a better deal. So,
but you do need to have a passport. So you absolutely have to have a passport. You have to have at least 6 months left on that passport. From when, the day that you arrive, that's the rule right now in Paris. So you have to have a passport and you have to have at least 6 months left before expiration to be able to head on over.
That's good to know. Yeah. So if you needed an excuse to get a passport, here you go. Yeah.
You never know.
There's a lot of people who have they kind of expired during the pandemic or they just were like, I wasn't thinking about it. And then I know of 3 people in the past 2 weeks I'm based south of Cleveland, drove to Detroit to get their passport because they were traveling within 2 weeks. I know. Kind of crazy just because of life things or things that popped up. So not a bad idea to have that passport in hand.
Right.
So
but in other ID news, as you may be aware, this is something that just popped up, but Real ID, that date keeps getting pushed out. So we were, most recently expecting that everyone would have to have a Real ID by May 2023 to be able to fly domestically. That's been pushed out another 2 years. So now it's May 2025. So you're in the clear. I'm in the clear. I don't have a Real ID yet. I just figured I would use my passport if I have to, but I know I keep meaning to go through the process, but it's been hard. It was hard when I had the time because during the pandemic, you had to make a reservation to go in anywhere, to do anything. So I think a lot of people were really stuck with that. So I'm glad that they pushed it out another couple of years.
And it makes sense with stuffing. I just want to say I have a Real ID. So let's have a moment that I was on this. As we all know, known to let the license expire, other things. I got my Real ID way before I had to go.
Awesome.
They'll probably decide they don't even need Real IDs.
Right.
Right. So we did say that on our page. So we share a lot of those things too, like ahead of these things or be ready. Again, not everyone has a passport that you can use really easily. So one thing to check off your list. I was just going to mention that.
Yeah. So you have extra time, but just do it now. Because 2025 is going to come around before you know it, and all of a sudden you're going to be scrambling.
You just need a few more things, and your drivers bureau, whatever you call it. They have to bring
Right, yeah.
list it out. You only have to bring a couple more things, but it was so worth. I think the picture was better, honestly. It's probably
Well, that's
not.
good to know.
Depends who really cares. That is a little more, but then you have it. So that's a good thing. Universal, we don't always have a lot to talk about just because of the way Universal runs, but they're totally decorated for Christmas. So cute. I know Christy said, she's like, I want to see the Grinch next Christmas, or some of our fellow agents are going. We're seeing cute pictures. So if that is appealing to you, the resorts are decorated, the parks are decorated. Universal still doesn't have a park reservation system, but again, if you're new to Universal Express Pass, you just want to have one, especially the holidays, or be really looking at those resort hotels. Again, we could talk the whole time about that, but definitely look at that. And then honestly, it's going in my Christmas newsletter because if I write it, it's December 7th.
I'm looking at New Year's now.
I had my cards. I'm so proud of myself.
I don't.
Well, if anyone's on my list, which you are, I mean, every year I say, I need to just say Happy New Year. No.
Yeah.
I've had them I actually forgot I had them until this moment. So I have them stuffed. I was like, if I get my Christmas card, my letter done this week, I'll mail them. I'm just they're just going in the mail. But my point was, I recapped the year. And again, it feels like eons ago we were at Universal Orlando. Yeah. I mean, Universal. Yeah, we're Universal. And we got to be in the Mardi Gras parade.
Oh, it was so fun.
I mean, we were so excited. There were people excited, but we got to be in the parade during Mardi Gras. Universal announced it'll be February 4th to April 16th in 2023. And now they're offering a package where you can have a meal and be in the parade. It was so fun. We were talking about it. We wish we'd done a GoPro video. It would not have been a great video, but I would have.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, whipping beads at people. I mean, it's as close to a celebrity as I may have.
Oh. So and I mean, Mardi Gras is fun, and Universal does it so well. The parade's awesome. The food's awesome. The entertainment is awesome. Like, it's so worth going for that. I think Disney gets a lot of buzz for their festivals, but this is great. And I mean, I haven't seen full on Christmas at Universal. I had the chance to do Christmas during the pandemic, and those Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade floats, because, the floats for the parades aren't in every parade every year. And so Universal does a parade with floats that have been in their Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade floats and balloons. And it is fantastic. I mean, they do some really great things. They don't get the same buzz.
They don't.
Because I mean, it's a different location, and it's, it doesn't always appeal to the same families in the same ways. And they certainly don't have so many requirements for park reservations and how far in advance you have to make dining and everything else. So it's just less cumbersome. So you don't need to talk about it as much, but they've got some incredible things going on.
They do. And I mean, you may have a connotation when you think, oh, Mardi Gras, that couldn't be family friendly or things like that. And they do such a good job. I mean, the entertainment was spectacular. We were behind, I mean, at least my float, I think they're on the same float. They had the stilt walkers and costumes and music. It was so festive. Like, I think I laughed the entire time. Like,
I'm sure I did. I looked like a fool, but I had such a great time.
I mean, I hit a few people. One should probably. If people were going crazy, it's just literally strings. It's not special beads, but it's just the idea of it is so fun. So either to attend is super fun, but if you're thinking, oh, that might be fun to put my whole family up on a float or something like that, that is an option. We can help kind of look at that for you. So, because again,
I was there with my family. We were there 1917. I don't even know what year it was. My kids were younger. Yeah. And they just, I mean, we weren't there because of Mardi Gras. We were there because it was spring break and it was an easy time to get there. They had a blast. And I mean, they loved that Mardi Gras parade. They collected as many beads as they possibly could. The whole thing was incredible. And then, of course, Harry Potter and Volcano Bay. And, we just had a wonderful visit, that time as a family too. And we didn't know what to expect for Mardi Gras. We weren't there for Mardi Gras. It just happened to be happening at the same time.
Right. So something to keep in mind. We're happy to answer questions. As always, all of our services are free. So truly, there is no hidden cost to using us to help you. And again, we're here to really maximize your trip. Maybe you're someone who loves planning everything and you just want a little guidance. that's fine. You want us to help from A to Z, we can do that too. So as always, there's things changing. It's just good to have a kind of expert sort of eye on everything.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
speaking of that, we take these trips because we obviously need to do research, and I think that is so important. So we've had a lot of trips, as Jennifer alluded to. Obviously, we have the time together too, but we really are looking at everything with the eyes of, okay, what can we share? What can we teach people? So like we said, a lot of great videos coming up, but I guess we can start with, do you want to do a quick recap of why you went to Disney World?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think so. In November, we were all on the Disney Wish just a few weeks ago with a whole bunch of other Mickey Travels agents. This was planned quite far in advance to be able to, have an agent trip. And the whole purpose of that was to learn more about the ship. And I was lucky enough to have already been on the Wish with my family. So it was really fun to be able to go in and really hone in on some of those things and learn even more. But kept backing those dates up because if I'm going to go to Florida, I need to do other things. And so I decided to go just a few days early to try to go see different restaurants I'd never seen before, try to put an eye on other things when I wasn't there with my family, when I was specifically only there, to be really trying to look at things with the lens of questions I would get from people. Backed it up a little bit more, of course, because there is a half marathon. And if I'd not signed up for a half marathon, I'm not working out. And so it's, expensive, yes, to do Disney races, but to me, it's like a gym membership. I might as well just sign up for these because then I have to run, because there's no way I could go into a half marathon without training. I would die. I mean, I struggle hard enough. So did the Wine and Dine half marathon and 10K. I did a live stream walk around the expo. And so that is on our YouTube channel right now. So if you are thinking about a Run Disney race, want to know what it looks like, because it's a whole production at Disney just to pick up your race bib, to pick up your race shirt, what that looks like, where you go. It's not, showing up the morning of. You do have to go there early, pick up your items early, verify that you are the person that registered for the race. And then, there are a whole bunch of other things that you can do while you're there as well, as far as shopping is concerned, and pictures and everything else. But so we've got a live stream about that. And then plans were shifted a little bit because the latest in the year hurricane in Florida, Miss Nicole decided to show up and put a little bit of a damper in our plans, but Catherine got
managed.
But you made it.
Christy was there early as well. She is two of her children are cast members at Disney World, so she went early to spend time with them. And I was excited to take a couple extra days. I booked the flight I did because it was cheaper. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have time by the pool. I could work by the pool. Now, of course, the hurricane poured in, so we did not have time by the pool.
No,
but it gave us an opportunity to really enjoy Disney Springs. All three of us have multiple children with us, and typically if we're taking those trips with the family, it's just not the same experience. So we'd originally decided Disney Springs. We stayed at Saratoga Springs, and where Jennifer had booked. Literally, I feel like when you say stone's throw, I mean, to get to the amazing. So if you've pulled out Saratoga Springs because of its location, which we hear that a lot from people, it's further away. Let me tell you, if you want to be near Disney Springs, if you have teenagers like Jennifer, walk over and get Starbucks, or you want to be able to roam about, or just go over for dinner, it is such a great
It's so close. Yeah, I love it. I'll do split stays sometimes, because if we got, some really park heavy days and then some really laid back days, I love it for those laid back days. I love being able to pop over to Disney Springs.
Right. So we decided to do that, and we did that in a hurricane. Basically, it felt like it wasn't even the hurricane wasn't there. So
it was a lot of rain.
It was ponchos. And cold. Yeah. Ponchos. I mean, we were cold when we got into places because the air conditioning was still cranking, but we had an idea of checking out some places we don't usually get. Or new to us, I should say that too.
I'm not sure any of us had been to any of them before.
We had not. No, I think I'd walked into bars, like a couple of them, but we hadn't been in there. So the first one we went to was Hangers.
Jock Lindsay's Hanger Bar. Yeah.
Yeah, why do I want to, I just want to give it
Jock Lindsay's Hanger Bar. It's really loosely based on the Indiana Jones canon.
Yeah.
I mean, really deep into the Indiana Jones canon.
Yes.
Really neat environment though.
Yeah, all the details are great. So there's a show on Disney Plus, which I'm not going to remember what it is, of course, because I can't remember anything right now, it seems. But it was a really cool, it was telling the story. Obviously, the storytelling is just like if you're at the parks on a ride. I mean, all the details. So we had really great drinks there. Christy ended up meeting us, and we decided, all right, we're going to go back out and see where else we find. And we had both had it on our list. We're like, we'll try Enzo's Hideaway. Now, this is a place you could easily miss. The signage is not clear. I mean, Hideaway, like, it's very hidden away. Yeah. We're like, oh, we'll just try it. We all loved it. Loved it. Really cool. We didn't have reservations at any of these places. I should say that too. So we just walked up. And it was a little later in the afternoon. It wasn't even that late.
Well, yeah, it wasn't that late because Disney Springs was closing at 7 o'clock.
So that was part of it. So we had to really get it together because we had to go a little longer. But we went there and sat at the bar. Drinks were amazing. Food was so good.
It was so, yeah, we ordered a few appetizers, ton of food, especially for the price. I was not expecting the volume for what we were paying. For it, and everything was excellent.
So good sized place. So you see it pop up a lot when you're looking at reservations. So whether you're just thinking of popping in for a drink or you want to try a meal, I mean, we would highly recommend it. So
absolutely. Well, it's easy to miss because of where it's located, but then I think there's confusion because there's Maria and Enzo's, and these are all like connected and with same ownership. There's the Edison, where the bathrooms are actually shared between Enzo's Hideaway and the Edison. And then there's Enzo's Hideaway, which is kind of tucked down. It's like a speakeasy-ish, style location. And a lot of these locations, in addition to being on the Disney World app, and you can book them through Disney World, they're also on Open Table. And so I noticed when I was looking around that all the places, well, Jock Lindsay's Hanger Bar doesn't take reservations at all, but the other ones we went to, regularly have availability on Open Table, even if they're not available on the Disney World website. So if it's in Disney Springs, not all of them are on Open Table, but a lot of them are. So it's really worth checking that out if you're looking for a reservation.
That's a great point. And I think because you have to go down the stairs and around, and we checked in, and I was like, gosh, the house has been on a while. Because we were like, it's got to be right there. And we walked a ways. And I am a more claustrophobic person, so it did not feel like you were in, like the ceilings were still high. Like if that's a feeling like, oh, we're going to be down there at the window, it didn't feel like that at all. So that's one thing. But yeah, great menu, really fun. So that was one of our hidden gems, I would say.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Like we were telling everyone, like, you have to
go there. We are still thinking about this place because no one really is. It's not on any lists. It's not mentioned regularly.
No. And if you followed us for a while, we do enjoy a good cocktail or beverage. Yeah, I'll hold the name of research. So we all had we had a great list, obviously a great wine list, great selection of everything if you're not looking for a drink, but that was really appealing. And then we had time for one more place. Wine Bar George, which has been on all of our lists for a while. Again, we wish the weather had cooperated because it would have been so great to sit
on the
patio overlooking and see everything. We didn't, but the menu there is extensive for wine. We were so impressed with our server. He really knew. I swear he knew every single. So I don't even know how many were on there. So many.
Yeah. Really something for everyone. And then
we all have different tastes as well. And so, especially at that point in the day, so he was able to do that. We didn't eat there because we had eaten way more than we expected at Enzo's. We had planned to maybe eat something there, but there were families there. It wasn't just adults as well, but really cool as well. We ate upstairs or sat upstairs. The downstairs bar is really pretty. That one you see a lot of options for that one pop up as well. I think because But that's a great one too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I had to go to Ghirardelli and get an ice cream.
I did not.
Jennifer went back and I was like, I just have to. My kids were like, you have to go. I was like, and it was pouring rain. So I was just standing in the corner. No family, like me alone eating my ice cream. Whatever. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, all in the name of research. But I wasn't going to sit in my room. I'm all the way there.
Yeah. And so
you
then
had
we
to
went
sit in your
back,
room.
we went to bed, and then we woke up and got to switch resorts because that was as well. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, the point was to spend a couple of days at Saratoga Springs to really get to focus a little bit on Disney Springs. And then we had tickets to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, which was, the night before we were to board the cruise. And so I thought, well, it's a late night. I get tired. I wasn't going to want to wait for a bus, to go back. I wanted to stay for the whole Christmas party. And it was a long trip already. I was still, tired from the half marathon. I got 50,000 steps the day of the half marathon. Like, my body did not like me for a long time after that. There was no resting. But anyhow, so we moved over to Bay Lake Tower. We were in a studio for Bay Lake Tower, at Bay Lake Tower, before Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. And we spent some time around the monorail. Where did we go? We went to the Polynesian.
we did. We kind of did. Remember, we went to Polynesian. We walked around there. We walked over to Grand Floridian.
Oh, that's right.
Again, the weather was not amazing. So guest services was just busy at each hotel. Like, just some people were trying to decide were they going to stay longer. They didn't know what they were doing, but rain had kind of stopped. And then we met up with some other Mickey Travels agents.
Right.
Yeah, we did. We got on the list.
Oh my gosh, because the storm came through overnight. That's what it was. I'm like, when did the storm come through? And it wasn't too bad.
No.
It was really windy a little bit that day, but not the whole time. But we had no problem moving over from Saratoga to Bay Lake Tower. Oh, I know what I wanted to mention though, something really important. So when we stopped at the Polynesian, we were taking a look at the construction that was happening over there. It's extensive because if you're unfamiliar, there's that whole area where it was just kind of like standard view, and it was a garden, and it was where the Spirit of Aloha Luau used to be. That's completely torn up. They're building a new tower there, so there will be more lodging. Eventually there will be a new pool. I have to admit, I'm not at all impressed at how that area has been kind of cordoned off from what some of the rooms are looking out on. Some of the rooms have a terrible view right now at the Polynesian, which I think is atrocious given the cost. And I hate to say that because I love the Polynesian.
I know, no.
But I would really be disappointed if I were in one of those standard view rooms and I saw that mess. I wish at least there'd be fencing or something all the way up to the third floor there, but there isn't right now. So it hurts to say it, but and if you take the monorail, you can see all of that construction too. So I mean, once they're done, it's going to be gorgeous. They're going to have so many other wonderful options over there. The Polynesian needs another pool, I think. I think that the feature pool there is lovely. It's too small, and so it's going to be great. But I'm kind of really disappointed with what that space looks like right now.
Right, and we walked over and we just walked up just to look out, and we were like, oh my word. So that's, again, another thing where we're here to kind of say, okay, that's great. You want to think about this, think about your room view, or it's worth upgrading to that next category, just to guarantee that, because I think you would be disappointed.
I know. Maybe spend another $25 a night and move from standard view to garden view, because
that's something we're staying on top of as well, is trying to, because you could read a general update about construction, but what does that mean?
What does it mean? Right. Yeah.
Buildings are. We also got to tour a bungalow.
Oh, that's right.
There's so much. We have to stop talking. Yeah.
Videos I'm working on right now. I've only have like 12.
Bungalow, which are out over the water. We could have happily lived there. So we got to see that.
That was great.
A lot into that time. Part of it was, which we're going to talk about too. We'll wait on Steakhouse 71 and all that. We'll talk about that. But,
where we didn't go at all. I mean, how many times did we make it there?
I know. We were regulars with it. Can you be regulars within 2 days?
I think so.
Yeah. We'll talk about that next time. We'll write that down so we remember. We'll try to do in the last 20 minutes just about the Disney Wish. So we were waiting because luckily the storm wasn't as bad. So we knew we were still going to go out while we were getting delayed. So here's our big thing is there are lots of ways that you can get to the port from the airport, from a resort, things like that. Disney offers transportation. That is what we all were booked on. And we were so glad because we
Oh my
didn't
gosh.
worry about anything. And we had agents, some agents, I think almost everyone was there already, but we were at every resort you could name, basically. So they tell you the meeting time, you meet in the lobby, they check you in, make sure you have everything. And then it ended up we had a delay. So we knew we had, was it 3 hours?
I think at first it was 3 hours. No, because we were supposed to be picked up originally at like 8 or 8:30. And then it was pushed back to noon right away. So we knew that we had time the day before.
We went to brunch.
Yeah, take our time, grab
Bottomless
breakfast.
mimosas.
Steakhouse 71 that we weren't going to talk about. And then so we got there at noon.
Yeah.
Well,
And
they
the nice
said,
thing,
yeah. We
well,
waited
the nice thing too with that is if you're using Disney Cruise Line transportation, you're not worrying about your bags. You're putting your bags where at the time they're telling you, you leave them right in your room. They come and get them. So you're not carting your bags around. You're not having to take them down and leave them with bell services or anything like that. Everything's taken care of. You'll see your bag again on the ship. And remarkably, they got those bags on so quickly, considering the craziness that was that day. So,
and it was really pretty unprecedented because it wasn't like the ship was there waiting. Apparently, what we learned is that they had to dredge out part of the port, and only 2 ships were small enough to get in. So apparently, even though the Wish is a large ship, it's still smaller than some of the mega ships that are out there. And so there was another cruise line ship that was able to get into port, and the Disney Wish was able to get in the port. No other ship that was going to be there that day or that was supposed to be there that day was able to make it in because they could only dredge out so much to get the ship in. So that's why we kept being delayed and delayed. So totally unprecedented experience, not something that most people would ever experience. But the fact that we were on Disney Cruise Line transportation and they took care of our stuff and us so well while we were waiting and during these delays, because it wasn't Disney Cruise Line, it was port. And they kept getting, notification from port. And the cast members were so wonderful. You could tell they were exhausted by the time we finally left. They were like, have a great time. I'm so glad you're going.
It was one less thing to worry about. We didn't have to keep, checking with a plate. And there are lots of options. I mean, we talk about this all the time. We also feel really strongly you get what you pay for. So in this kind of situation, the fact that we didn't have to worry about that, they said come back. So actually we were like, all right, I guess that's when we saw our friends because of the monitoring over or whatever. We took some time, we took some pictures, we just enjoyed ourselves, and we could do that really easily. Again, another benefit of staying where we stayed is that had it been storming, we could have just been on the monorail and checked out a few places. So after a delay, especially on a 3-night, which can be really feels short anyway.
It's too short already, yeah.
It was, yeah, we already felt like we had our crunch, we had our agenda of things we definitely wanted to do. We didn't even get all of that because of everything. But we got on the Disney Wish. And for those who don't know or haven't sailed Disney, this is the newest ship. It has a very different feel from previous ships. A lot of buildup, which I think is completely warranted, I will say. I know that we were going on, Jennifer's been on with her family on this specific ship. We were primarily a group of women that were going. There were a lot of adults on the ship. We saw a couple weddings. I just want to say that because I think when people say Disney Cruise Line, there was a couple. We ended up, it's so weird. How when you just kept seeing them. I saw them the next day at Epcot. I saw them Monday at Epcot.
Oh, fun.
I know. All the people that were at Epcot, of course, they see the couple. But there was a lot to do as a couple. There really is. And that is what is really cool. I think, again, people think, I'd rather do a different cruise line. Absolutely. There's a lot of stuff for adults. There's things that don't exist on Disney Cruise Line. But the fact that there's these spectacular bar areas and there was an adults only pool, and even in dining, we were at tables with just us, which was really fun. But so many cool things to experience that I would love, obviously, to make sure not to. They would love it in every way too.
And I have to give huge kudos to the cast members on that ship for, they hustled. They got folks off, they got us on. We were also the very first very maritime cruise on this ship ever. And they had a staff come in, and that tree and the whole atrium was completely decorated by the end of the night. And we didn't get on until what, shortly before 6, maybe 5:30ish.
Yes, 5:30.
We were, among some of the earlier people, luckily, because we had a killer bus driver on our Disney bus he was awesome. Totally awesome. But so we were among some of the first people on the ship at, 5:30, 6 o'clock. They had pushed back the main stage show that night. So we were able to go to that show. No problem. Got to see Seize the Adventure, which is my favorite.
That was my favorite. I wish that. I feel like I couldn't even take everything.
Yeah. Well, it's your first day and you're just kind of, getting acclimated. And then you go to the show and you're like, wow. And I think a lot of people miss it the first night because it's not Rapunzel. It's not, it's not like the huge shows. It's like Beauty and the Beast is on the Dream. And then you got Aladdin, and then you have Little Mermaid. And so all of the ships have their main stage Disney production that you recognize. Yeah. And then they have these smaller, I don't want to say smaller. They're a little bit shorter, but they're, more boutique experiences specifically for that ship. Just Disney Dreams, The Hidden Mickey, Seize the Adventure on the Wish. Amazing productions. You have to see them. I think I know some people skip them because it's the first day and they're tired and busy, but don't skip it. Go, because they're crazy good.
Well, and absolutely, you don't want to skip it. I mean, whether you think, I don't know, like that one was so good because you saw so many characters, and you were so close. It does not matter where you're sitting in that theater. I mean, you can just see them up. So that's the best part.
The facial expression. Yeah. It's not like this big, deep theater.
You don't see that when you go to the theater or the big stage. I mean, the stage, you're just live and in person. So as a child, it would just feel like right there. So yeah, there's a show every night, went to all of them, and then dining. I mean, we ate and drank well. And again, we had our Jennifer was our expert too, because she knew some of the tricks of the trade, but also knew how to get around and things like that. And we were tired. I mean, we were tired. So we kept going. A lot of things, but again, a cruise is an investment. We know that if you looked at prices, you could go on another step for less to start. But that's the thing with Disney is there's so much included that you kind of would have to add on for other things. And we talked about that too on the ship. So Disney just has that other level. It is not like a Disney World experience. It's not.
It's a lot slower paced. I mean, you're busy, but you're not getting in usually 20,000 steps or, I got close to 10 and I take the stairs everywhere. I try to make myself take the stairs because I also eat all the things.
You probably did get more because we probably won't talk about it this time. I feel like we have to wait for Christy, but someone had success riding a bike and 2 people did not. So you got more exercise than us.
Yes, that's another video I'm working on though. That's the bike ride around Castaway.
I don't even think we took a photo of us on the bike. It was so short. But there are ways you can absolutely exercise. It's just in a different way. So, and I found it very easy to get around. I mean, I know some people feel like, it'd be so overwhelming. We were grouped together with some of the agents, which was really nice, but you can find your way around, and I think really quickly.
Yeah.
Too.
I didn't feel like the ship was confusing at all. I mean,
no.
The first time I was on it, we had no problem getting our bearings and figuring out where everything was. So
everything's well marked. I mean, there are cast members everywhere willing to help you and, get you pointed in the right direction. And like we said, I mean, even with the craziness, they were bringing floodlights out where buses were arriving because they've never had people arrive at night. And the fact that our luggage was quick. I mean, we had time to change before dinner. You probably wouldn't see that a lot of places to get where we needed to go, get everything settled. So, I mean, they couldn't do the farewell, when you're leaving, and it was dark when we were leaving. So
our sail away party was moved later, and then it was raining, so it was moved inside.
But we made it work. So, there's so much to talk about, but I do think there's so much value in the experience that depending on maybe your kids are pickier or maybe your husband or partner likes a certain way to eat. I mean, there's everything.
Yeah.
That's why I love a cruise. You can eat and drink and try so many things.
Well, I mean, I love that when I get on a Disney cruise, I know exactly what I'm going to spend when I'm on that cruise. I mean, if you bring your bottle of wine or your bottle of champagne and make mimosas in your room with, free room service croissants, like I know I'll purchase the internet because I need that. A lot of people don't need that. You're fine.
Right.
I need it for work. And so I always want to make sure that I always have the internet access. So I'll purchase that. I may purchase a spa pass. We didn't on the sailing because it was just so short that there wasn't really time to do that. I did, on the previous one. And then, my kids like specialty coffees. And so coffee is included. Lattes, mochas, you name it. They're a little bit extra, but I want to say maybe $4. Like the
They're
pricing
cheaper than heading
really
around the corner
affordable
to your local place. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, they'll pick up I don't know, caramel macchiato or something like that and spend a little bit extra on it, but it's not, it's not a ton. And then, with the ports right now, you've got Nassau and Castaway Cay, and we got off at Castaway. We didn't really do any type of excursion on Castaway. They have parasailing, and they have Stingray adventure, and we rented bikes like we mentioned. With varying success. You can go snorkeling. None of those things though are really excessively priced, but I don't feel like you really need any of it to have a great time.
Well, and that's what I wanted to say, because I think that can be a deterrent to people who think, and we didn't stop at Nassau because of the delay in leaving. So we were at sea, which was actually perfect. I would have felt very gypped if we had gotten off and not done as much either. So that was good, but you could just go kind of like we did. We had some special receptions and things like that built into our itinerary because we were part of an agent trip and some trainings and things like that. But I would have been happy sitting on the beach. I would have sat at Serenity Bay all day, which is the adults only area. There's plenty to do without feeling like you have other things. I mean, the water is there. I mean, there's just everything to enjoy, the food. So you don't have to have a lot of things planned.
All you can eat soft serve. Yeah. And the kids club. So when you're on Castaway Cay, if you've got kids ages 3 to 12, and they're normally in Oceaneers, that staff moves over to Scuttle's Cove. And so if you want to check the kids in, their fun little kids area with basically the Oceaneers counselors that they know already because they've already been there. Great. They can do that. You can go to Serenity Bay, go in different directions, do different things as well. The different, so my kids are teenagers now, and they were in Edge. Now they participate in the Vibe high school age group things. And so those groups have things planned on the island as well. Again, you can show up, you don't have to show up. I mean, basketball, shuffleboard, horse, they'll play different games together just as an excuse to get together and, do things with that age group. So it's really neat to have stuff like that planned and available.
So whether your kids, want to do that for the day, or maybe you want to do a half day, or, mom and dad can go enjoy themselves and then pick the kids back up. There's the flexibility. There is a tram, so that will take you to different spots, but we really advise, especially in the morning, to get off and to walk, because you would miss some of the characters. And so our favorite pirate was out.
I've never actually had the chance to get a picture with him on Castaway, because I always just miss him because we get there early and do the 5K, or there's a line, so we had perfect timing. We got to meet Jack.
Shockingly, we did not do the 5K.
No, we did not.
It was hot. It was really hot. I should have, though.
No. I had just done some races. I was done.
You were good. Can you bike it? Can you bike it and it counts?
I've seen people bike it. I did bike it.
You did. You should have gotten some.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's on your honor. You run it on your own now.
You don't have to register. You just
it's free.
And we saw lots of people doing it.
Oh yeah.
Dedicated.
Good for them.
Do they have like a 1K? I don't even know if we did that. We should. But the characters are out. And so that is a great way. So you're walking, and again, you can stop and you get the great background. Jack Sparrow was fabulous. He might have said the same thing to all of us, but we don't care, because he said, but it was so
funny though. Yeah.
So funny. And they have them out early, obviously. I mean, it was warm. I mean, we got off like in our bathing suits with a cover up, and it was getting warm. So you can imagine the other getting tasty as well. But great photo ops with them. The background is so pretty. But definitely take time to do that when you get off as well. And then they are, and some of the, we didn't get it, but some of the agents thought that they sell coolers
Oh, right.
that you can take home, really kind of nice coolers with 6 waters in them. So if you just want to be able to pick that up as you're getting off the ship, that's available. The
Yeah, and I want to
towels,
say it's a profit that's around $28. We did on the previous on the Magic, maybe the last time we were on the Magic, we did that. So we have the cooler at home. It's a nice insulated zip up cooler, and yeah, filled with water. And then you purchase it and they have, ice there, and they fill it full of ice so that you've got new fresh ice, with in your cooler with your water. So they do it really well. And I think $28, for 6 bottles of water, or their cans actually, but 6 cans of water and a nice cooler is not an excessive price.
no. And the people that did get them, like, they were nice coolers too.
Yeah,
Or
they
get
are.
towels when you get there. So Castaway is such a fun place too. So again, there are some people who choose to stay on the ship. You don't have to get off. So you may decide it's a great time also to explore the ship because not as many people are on as well. So,
and I think the other thing, I know that we are, as usual, really getting, close to the end of time.
yeah.
But when it comes to planning your Disney cruise vacation, especially if you're a Disney World fan, you are planning to a T still quite a bit really far in advance. You need to have an idea of where you're going. You need to make your park reservations. You need to, make your dining reservations. And I mean, yes, you can be, flexible about some of that stuff, but still, Disney, you have to do a lot of planning. It is very possible to get on a Disney cruise ship and plan nothing and have an amazing time. Sure, excursions can book in advance. So far, I've had great luck stopping by guest services, and that was my 5th Disney cruise, stopping by guest services and, getting whatever I was interested in getting, because lots of people, just like Disney World, will overbook, drink tastings or excursions or other things they want to do, or realize maybe I want to stay on the ship. So, guest services will put you on a wait list if they can't get you in right away. And then you'll notice it on the app and you'll get a notification, and they let you know when you're in. For some of the adult dining locations, they've got every ship has a specified place to go right when you board. If you're not able to book, all of the ships have Palo, and then the other ones, some of them, the Wish has Enchanté, which is Enchanté, which is a really high level restaurant, or Remy on the Dream and the Fantasy. And so if you're not able to book those really far in advance, it's really worth stopping at guest services right away, or figuring out where that dining location is. Go there, see if you can get a reservation, or at least get on the wait list for those reservations. I had an alcohol tasting that I canceled at the last minute because I was tired. It was at 10 o'clock at night. I really wanted to do, it was, a specialty bourbon tasting, and I like that type of thing. Couldn't do it. We were just spent. And so the nice thing too is that so when it comes to excursions or any of these activities that you book in advance with Disney Cruise Line, you don't pay until you complete that experience, and then it's added to your onboard account. And so, you don't pay for all of that in advance. You pay for your cruise in advance, but that is paid for at the conclusion of your sailing, with your onboard account. Something else that I think is important to know is that it's always a good idea to sign up for the photo package if you think you might want it, because if you sign up for it in advance, then it's a discount. So it's a discounted price, but if you get your pictures and you realize, gosh, we didn't make it to as many photographers as we thought we were going to make it to, like our sailing, it was just shorter than we thought it was going to be. There were things, we had a lot of different meetings, specifically with our Mickey Travels folks, where we weren't able to, be on the ship in the places we needed to be for some of those meet and greets. And so we looked at the pictures and realized, you know what, maybe we don't really need the photo package. We took a ton of wonderful pictures on our own. So on that last day, we were just able to go and have that removed. But if we wanted it, I had it on there at a discount. I think it was $30 or $40 discounted over what it would be if you added it on the ship. So just little tips and tricks like that, I think are really helpful to know, but you can have an amazing experience and have absolutely nothing planned before you get on the ship.
That's very true. There's just so much to explore and enjoy, and you still won't get to everything. We kept seeing things. We're like, oh, we want to get there. I'm like, how did I not make it there? I walked by it, kind of thing. So
Wakanda Forever opened when we were on that ship. And I'm like, if I have to stay up overnight, to watch it. I'm going to watch Wakanda Forever. I still haven't seen it. My family went to the theaters while I was
That's right.
there.
They did.
I
Yeah,
don't
so I
even
mean, there's literally everything, which is
Right.
great. But I love about it too, it's kind of a wrap. We'll talk more about it, especially when Christy's back on with us. But there is a lot to know about planning the cruise, and there are things you just want to do in advance, but it really is. We saw a lot of multi-generational families
Right.
that were cruising as well. We saw people with all kinds of ages of kids. So really just thinking about that, or even if you just want to reach out to us with, where do I start? Or I have questions, or is this a good fit? I mean, we talk to families a lot. Like if these are your expectations, is it Disney World? Is it Disneyland? Is it a cruise? We book a lot of packages together. So maybe you're going to go to Disney World for a few days and then do a cruise. I mean, you could really combine a lot of different things like we did, which was great.
Well, and, I think, it's sort of in closing, I think it's important because of the fact that, we mentioned Disney Cruise Line is going to be opening, spring 2024 here soon. Pre-pandemic, it's ships build so fast that the pricing just increased. There are no longer any testing or vaccination requirements, with Disney Cruise Line. They did have what I would call like a unicorn discount this spring that I've never seen before. And I don't know that we'll ever see, partially because of the number of people that weren't able to sail because of, all those testing and vaccination requirements. But what I'm noticing now when folks are coming to me last minute sailing or last minute, but saying, we've decided we really want to get on a ship for spring break. Some of them are completely booked. There are lots of dates. I mean, I've sadly had a bunch of people looking at, they really wanted 3-night sailings or whatever in January on the Wish. A lot of them are gone. Most of them are gone. Right. I mean, these ships are booking up. They're getting back to normal as far as how far in advance those will book up. I mean, well, the Australia sailings, that's kind of a unicorn experience too. The Disney Wonder is going to Australia for a few, mostly 2, 3, some 4-night experiences. And I think those ships, all of those sailings, almost entirely booked by people who had been on Disney Cruise Line before, like first-time cruisers, really struggled with availability because it was gone.
Right.
Those were so popular. So
yeah, and that's that's a double-edged sword too, that if you haven't, you were waiting to sail because maybe you didn't want to deal with those requirements, you didn't feel safe, whatever the reason, those aren't, those requirements are gone. So that means more people are booking, but that also means more people are booking, thinking about it a little earlier. You could probably, for the past year and a half, you could get away with waiting a little bit longer. But again, if you want the most options and all of that, definitely be looking. Plus, it's just fun to see all the itineraries. We can tell you about different places. So I think cruises are a great way to see a lot of different
and if you're immensely flexible on dates, if you don't care where your stateroom is, sometimes you can still find deals, and they were there before, less so. I think they'll still be there in the future, less so. But if you're very last minute, you're fine booking, paying in full at the time of booking. Again, you don't care where your stateroom is because they have a category oftentimes just called GTY. It's guarantee, meaning once they figure out what space is good for you, you're guaranteed at least what you booked, maybe something better. I've booked that before, and we've known, I think it was 4 days before sailing where our stateroom was going to be, and it was just fine. I mean, we had a great experience doing that too. So depends on what you're looking for. But if you want to plan, if you want to know where your stateroom is going to be, if you're new to sailing or no, you need midship, you want a veranda, then, and you want to go during spring break or summer break for that matter, it's really important to, to plan in advance. If you can do anytime January or February, you don't really care where the port is. It could be Galveston, it could be Miami, it could be whatever. Just tell me where to go. Then sometimes there are some great deals to be had. So you never know.
Well, as always, we have so much to talk about and get to surface level of most things. Right. So yeah, we know the holidays are coming. We're hoping to maybe be live again next week, potentially, and then take a break for the holidays, spend time with our families, and then resume again. But in the meantime, if you have questions or, we can lead you to a lot of things, or there's things you want to see, let us know. Post about it in our group. It's just be interactive, not just us answering questions. So
absolutely. And keep an eye on the YouTube channel. So if you are not yet subscribed, if you don't have the bell icon selected, go ahead and do that. I will definitely up here sometime before Christmas post the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party Parade. Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party fireworks are yet to come. I've got some extra Aulani videos. I have Yacht Club. What else? The Castaway. I mean, yeah, like I said, I've got the bungalow. I've got a 3-bedroom grand villa from Aulani that I am going to, yeah, just the list is a little crazy.
So if you were overwhelmed, you can always just go to our YouTube channel and just hit play and watch the little videos, you know, catch glimpses if you're working or just a little something. So that's a great way to see some things. But I know right now, if you pull it up, I have it on my big TV downstairs, like to see all the great places. I'm like, oh, this is not a bad playlist.
I know. I tried to live stream from Aulani and I wasn't able to get the connection quite right. And so instead I just did a walk around just like I would a live stream and then uploaded that right away. So that's up. It's about an hour long. So if you are curious at all about what the Disney Aulani Resort is, it's Aulani, a Disney resort and spa on Oahu. You know, I walked around it again early in the morning. So parts of it are a little bit dark because, you know, 6 a.m. Hawaii time was 10 a.m. here. So I was wide awake and ready to go for the day. And yeah, and it was a great trip. So I've got many more videos actually coming of the resort and of the area around the resort. If that's something you're considering, I'll have those loaded up here pretty soon.
Good. Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, gosh, it's been so fun. It's been way too long. I love doing this.
This is what I missed it. I know.
It's carving out the time and not having a kid activity or having other folks to help with the driving or, you know, all of those pieces. Right. Because once we get a time when at least 2 of us are available at the same time, and hopefully Christy's feeling okay next time too, because we had a time where all 3 of us were miraculously available at the same time. You know, it's nice to come and chat and share all of the things that we're learning and doing with you. And that's, you know, one of the reasons why we are here is just to you know, you give us, our job exists because we get to do this for you. And it's exciting and wonderful and at the same time consuming and overwhelming because there's more than you could possibly, you know, there's more than any one person or any number of people can possibly do, but we try really hard to do it all and share it all. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's so nice to see you. It's so nice to be here. You know, again, if you ever have questions, feel free to comment in the chat or ask questions on YouTube or, you know, pop on over to Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears on our Facebook group and, you know, ask questions, but also share your trips, share your excitement. You know, it's so nice, your thoughts, things that you're learning, that you're seeing, you know, if you notice something, share that there. Because it's a great place to, you know, to have conversation and to share your excitement for your trips as well. And I very much live vicariously through folks, you know, that I help plan travel for. I send emails afterwards just saying, hey, if you feel compelled, I'd love to hear a little bit more about how things went. And I will read some of those emails. I got one this week from a family that gave me just a full recap. I think I read it 4 or 5 times. I was just so excited for all the fun things that they got to do. Oh, I'm such a nerd.
No, well, I have a couple, this is my last thing, who they're getting engaged. He hasn't decided where.
Good times.
So I am just waiting for the text. Like they have some plans, he has some ideas, we have different reservations, we have some special things happening. It'll be when the mood strikes him.
So cool.
That's been so fun. Like just to be brainstorming, and this was a last minute trip, which in some ways was good because we only had so many options, but we get to do things like that. So talk about vicariously helping a couple like who both love Disney, know Disney really well, but are doing some special things. But this is so fun.
Yeah. And it's always fun when people have like when just helping people have a great time, helping you have a wonderful trip. Makes my day. That's why we do it. All the fun and all the crazy and all the late nights and early mornings. It's totally worth it if someone has a great trip.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks again so much for joining us, for participating in the conversation. It's so nice to see the comments in the chat. And we will be back. The plan is next week. So we'll be
Yes.
back at some point in time next week, and then we'll, try to come, to you more frequently live, but we're always posting and sharing, and, we've got videos coming up and everything like that. So we're always present. It's just that the going live, that tends to be difficult sometimes.
Right.
And again, subscribe, send your friends on over. If they've got questions, you know where to find us to help out. Have a great holiday season. See you soon, and enjoy.